Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm excited because today I am going to be talking about my new Indy boot. This is the Indy boot in Snuff Suede. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm sort of a fan of the Indy boot. And I gotta say, this is a makeup that I've been eyeing for a while now. I mean, years. I've been looking at the different variations of the Indy boot. They come in all different variations, like all Aldens do. They come on the Neo Cork sole, they come on the crepe sole, which I did like. They come with brown eyelets. The main reason why I didn't jump on the Snuff Suede Indy boots sooner was because of these bad boys right here. These sort of filled my Snuff Suede slot in my wardrobe for years, actually. These were enough to hold me back from getting these for a long time. I said, you know what, I already have Indy boots and I already have Snuff Suede. I don't need a pair of Indy boots in Snuff Suede. Well, you know how it goes. You let enough time go by and then eventually you convince yourself that actually no, you do need the Indy boots in Snuff Suede. So I already have Indy boots in brown chrome excel. Actually, I have two pairs of Indy boots in brown chrome excel. I have the standard Alden 403s and then I have the Innsbruck Indy from Epaulet. They are different. They have different eyelets and different soles. For me, that was enough to justify getting a new pair of Indy boots. Well, if that's enough to justify getting a new pair of Indy boots, then a different leather altogether should be enough. I also have the Alden 405s in brown tan calfskin. I have the vintage Indy in smooth chamois. And then I have some similar mock toe makeups, some Alden tanker boots in navy chrome excel, which are basically Indy boots in my opinion. And then I have some Grant Stone boots, black chrome excel, also very similar to the Indy boot. So what I did recently was I follow a lot of people on Instagram that have some really great collections. Among them is JD Sasso, he's really good. In8 Cairo, Andrew Carr, he's really good. And then I did find a new guy, I don't know his name, but his username is Owdog1, I think. That guy, he has an incredible collection, and in fact, it's the collection I want. and Owdog1, he doesn't have too many followers yet, so if you haven't checked him out on Instagram, check out his page. He has a really good collection, and I saw that he has the Snuff Suede Indies as well. So regardless, I follow all these guys, all these different boot collectors and things, and Alden aficionados and Viberg aficionados, and I came to the conclusion that as my boot collection matures, then there should be some makeups that I acquire. So what I did is I made a list. I made a list of things to get over the coming years. And so this was top of the list. These Snuff Suede Indies, the more I did my research, the more I planned, because I think it's smart to plan. I came to the conclusion that I wanted these, and I wanted these with gold eyelets. That was my one contingent factor, was if I was going to get some Snuff Suede Indies, well, they had to have gold eyelets, and as you can see, these do. As far as speed hooks go, I love hook speed hooks. I know a lot of guys don't. The speed hooks for me were not an issue. I didn't care either way. So I was happy with the speed hooks. The commando sole, I'm happy with. Most of my Alden makeups have this commando sole, so I was kind of hoping, honestly, more for a crepe sole. But at the same time, these Alden plain toe boots have the crepe sole, so I didn't want too much overlap, because as you can see, we've got gold eyelets with the hook eyelets. So I'm happy that the sole wasn't the same. Also, the last is different. These are built on different lasts. These Indies are built on the True Balance last, as they all usually are. And then these are built on the Alden military last, or the X079 last, I forget what it's called, but it's the military last. And they basically, they're the same thing. The only difference is the military last is a little bit more bulbous in the toe, whereas the True Balance is a little bit more collapsed. But to me, honestly, if I didn't know that these weren't True Balance, I wouldn't have suspected otherwise, because they feel very much like True Balance. They size the same as True Balance. Speaking more specifically about these, when I found these were from a shop that I hadn't heard of before. It's called Gentleman's Footwear. The guy was real nice. We were texting back and forth. He said that he had this pair in stock. I was also looking at Alden of Carmel. They had their own Snuff Suede Indy boot makeup, but I don't think it was in stock. I contacted a few different shops. Brick and Mortar Seattle I contacted. They didn't have my size. They had some Snuff Suede Indy boots on the cream wedge sole, which I really like, and I actually wanted those first because they had the cream wedge sole, and then they had it was all gold eyelets all the way up. And I liked those, but they didn't have my size either. But I was really happy when I stumbled across Gentleman's Footwear. He was super nice. He actually included the Alden shoe trees, which I love. I use other shoe trees, but obviously if you're going to use a shoe tree in your Aldens, you're going to want the shoe trees from the company. Those are always the best bet. One thing I've noticed about this Snuff Suede, not all Snuff Suedes are the same, not all Suedes are the same, and it really depends on the batch. The suede on this pair is actually pretty different from the Snuff Suede on my plain toes. Mostly specifically, and I don't know if the camera can capture this, but these are more hairy. This is much more hairy than my other boots in suede. I noticed that in certain areas there are fibers from the suede that sort of stick out kind of far in certain areas. Now, that's not an issue for me, but it has caused me to sort of brush them a little bit more, keep the hair down or whatever those fibers are. And they seem to almost be protruding more over time. But yeah, it's kind of strange. I did read that some guys, they'll take a lighter and they'll burn those down. Leathers are really cool like that. Like, you don't know what you're really going to get till they get there because of the variations, the natural variations in the leather. This pair, the suede on it is a lot smoother, a lot less hairy. The nap of the suede is pretty uniform, whereas on this pair it kind of changes directions on you. The suede right here is smooth, but then when you come around to the other side, the suede up here is really hairy. I just love that golden glow that they have, that natural golden glow, especially when you get outside in the sunlight. I think they look really good. So yeah, I'm really happy with this pickup. It's been, like I said, years coming. It's about dang time that I got this. The more I go through this journey of boot collecting, the more you start to realize that there are certain pairs. You should compile a list and just plan that when you see this one come available, you can plan, you can save, and you could get the stuff that you want. So that way that you really strategize and really build up the boot collection that you want. Another pair that I've been meaning to get are some Color 8 long wing bluchers. So I did actually put in a pre-order for those. I should be getting those within 6 months. I also learned recently about the lists to get on for rare shell Cordovan. Apparently, there are lists that you have to get on. A lot of the people that I follow on Instagram, they're on these lists, and they have some really cool shell Cordovan makeups, like in cigar and whiskey and natural shell Cordovan. There's a lot of shades of shell Cordovan that I'm still learning about to this day. In fact, one of the guys that I follow, he just recently got some Viberg service boots in old bronze shell Cordovan. It's a really difficult color to even describe. It looks black sometimes, it looks gray sometimes, it looks green, it looks brown sometimes. It's really bizarre. It's like a very, very dark moss green if I had to if I had to compare it to anything. But again, it looks, just depending on the light, it looks completely different. And that's what I like about these really nice leathers, the depth of them. And the more they age, the more they expose their depth, and the more they expose their characteristics. That's what I really like about it. I actually did end up getting on the list for the Shoe Mart and Brick and Mortar Seattle. What you do is you give them your size and you wait. You could wait 3 years, you could wait 5 years, you might end up waiting 10 years. My one buddy, Stitch Down, he did an article recently with Matt Gray. He did an interview with Matt Gray where Matt Gray talked about his journey with Alden. Actually, I didn't know this. Matt Gray is a new Alden collector. He's only been in the game for like 2 years maybe, which is kind of crazy because if you look at his collection on Instagram, he's got so many rare shell makeups. And I said, you know what, if I'm making this list, I'm gonna get on the list. I'm gonna get on these lists for rare shell Cordovan. So how it works is you email them, you get on the list, you give them your name, you give them your size. Your size is important because that's how they compile these lists. And when they do a run, when they get a run of these rare shell makeups, they email you, depending on your seniority, and you say yay or nay. You give them a down payment, and then eventually your boots are done or your shoes are done, and then they send them to you. After, of course, you pay the full price. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how long it takes for me to get an offer for one of these rare shell makeups. I really want whiskey or cigar or natural or Ravello. I'm open to all four of those. Sometimes it's a waiting game, and sometimes the waiting game, at first, it really spazzed me out. I'm like, oh my god, I want this pair. Like my vintage Indies, I'm like, oh my god, I cannot even imagine having them. That's how much I wanted them. And then I finally got them, and now they're just part of my rotation. But it's crazy. And once you get something rare and you really appreciate how rare it is, then you can enjoy wearing them. And that's the fun of this. That is the fun of boot collecting and having this as a hobby. And like I say, every day I'm learning something new. It's just a wild ride, really. So anyways, that's gonna wrap up my video on these. I think I talked more about boot collecting in general than I did the Snuff Suede Indies. But I am really happy with these. I am on Instagram. If you wanna watch how these age, you can follow me there. My username is AeroSurferLV. And I have a lot of ideas for more videos coming up, so stay tuned for those. And anyways, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video.